Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, Avodah Zarah daf Nun Tes. We're going to begin on Nun Chesem at Beis, about 6 lines from the bottom. So we're learning in yesterday's daf regarding the situation where an akum touches the wine, but he didn't do it necessarily for the kavana for it to become yain nesach, but he had the intention knowing that it was wine, as opposed to him touching it and not even realizing that it was wine at the time. So the dinim are different. Rish Lakish ikla lebetzra. So Rish Lakish went to this particular location. Chazi Yisrael the kaachli piri deloy masri. He saw that they were eating fruits that they didn't take off meiser, which means it was tevel v'asulahu. Says Rashi, the Ksavar Bitsra Haya Batzar Bamidbar. He thought it was this location, Hivan Eretz Yisrael Chayavan Pirosa B'Meiser. And he thought that these were actually, there was a chiv of separating Meiser. The Asulhu. So Chazamai, so he answered them. Chazamai the Sagdi Huav Kachavim. He saw that there was this water in which idol worshippers were bowing down to it. Then B'Shas Yisrael, and they were Yid was drinking it. The Asruhu, and he answered it. Which sounds pretty logical. Askamid Rabbi Yochanan, so he said to him, Ad Maktur Turach Alecha, while your coat is still on you, Zil Hadar, go and retract. Says Rashi, go back and allow these things. Don't even rest from the travails of the travel. Go back there quickly. Why? Because Batzar love Hainu Bitzra. It's not the same place, and therefore it's not Eretz Yisrael, and there's no Chiv Meiser. Umayim Shel Rabim Einisarim. And also, even though we were bowing down, this is Mayim Shel Rabim, and that cannot become Aser. Rabbi Yochanan Taimei, as we continue to Nun Testament Aleph, Diamar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rav Shimon Yehustik, he said that Mayim Shel Rabim in Asarin cannot become Aser. Which is Mashma, Hadiyach in Asarin, which is Mashma, if it's water that belongs to a Yachid, then it could become Aser. Is that the truth? So, on this, the Gemara says, "V'tepikle the hamechubarninhu." Why don't we say that there's an issue of mechubarim, which means that when one thing is connected or attached to the other, it should be able to aser the other. So, lo tzricha did talshinhu gola, that you had some waves that came, says Rashi, palmim shehin nitloshin, and they're kind of like detached. Hilkach idiyachid nisarin. Okay, so again, perhaps that is the significance is that it was like disconnected. So saif avni har shenid ladu ninhu. These are like rocks that became detached. To stand Rav Yochanan the Amar Siros. Is it he's saying that the detached rocks are aser? Says Rashi Binya. Kloimer mi pashtinan mahacha, or able to just answer so simply from here. Gabi avni har shenizdadalu diafligu behu bnei Rav Chia Rav Yochanan the Rav Yochanan the aser. It's not so pashit that actually would be aser. Well, tzricha de tavchinhu biyade, says Rashi, that the Ovi Chachavim biyadei, with his own hands, Melmata v'tolshin, he detached it, v'yachach hishtachvel, and then he bowed down to it. Hilchach yesh behen tfisas yadei adam, and therefore this water is like a tfisas yadei adam, that it was done by him. V'odamu avni har shnedadlu maleihim. It's not talking about where things like the stones fell off by themselves. In that situation, it's not so pasha, that's aser. However, in this situation, because he was the one that did it, that's a tfisa the adam, and therefore that's the reason why the idiyachin esarin, that if it was by Yachid, then in fact it would be Aser. Let's look at question 8. Mehem atalmim the heter maya tetzagdu of the. Why would we say that this water, in which, after all, they were bowing down to it, why is it mutter? So first of all, because mayim shorabim ein nesarim, and also mipnei shemichubarim ein nesarim. The fact that it's mechuber, it's not a davar pashit, that should be aser, right? So therefore, because of that, that's another reason. Because it's like attached to the ground, so to speak, so therefore it should be mutter unless it was detached from the ground. Okay. So he went to this location. He saw that these women were becoming impregnated by these Avodah Chavim. Even though they had bris milah, but they didn't have tefillah. Chaza chamra demazgu of Chachavim v'shas Yisrael. He also saw wine which is being diluted, and Yidden were drinking from it. And we said before that maybe in that situation, it's it's mutter bahana, but it's aser b'shtiya, not to drink it because of lech amrin nazira. Chaza. Furthermore, he saw Tormusa deshakli lahu of the kachavim. He saw this bean in which the akum cooked the achi Yisrael, and that's an issue of bishul akum. He didn't say anything. Also, Rabbi Yochanan say, go out v'hichris al b'neim shehin mamzerim. You should go and announce your children are mamzerim for being with the kachavim. V'yena mishom yain nesach. And the fact that you're drinking this wine after the akum diluted it, that's yain nesach. V'al tormusin mishum b'shul yav kachavim mishum she'ena b'nei Torah, because they're not b'nei Torah, so therefore we're going to be more strict on them. Which is mashma, if they were b'nei Torah, then we wouldn't be so strict, and we would not say these things are aser. Now. Since he didn't do tefillah of Gachavim, still in Gachavim. The Eved Bas Yisrael we said in Mesechtes Kedushin that if you have an Gachavim with a woman, a Bas Yisrael, the product of that relationship, the child will be a mamzer. Which is what we said before, that even though maybe it's moter b'hana, but it's aser b'shtiya. Musin mishum b'shul yadichavim v'yishin b'nei Torah. Time to b'nei Torah. B'nei Torah shari. So why would you be able to eat this bean? Isn't it bishul akum? After all, Rav Shmuel bar Rabbi Yitzchak. Rav kol shenecha kamoshu chai. Something which can be eaten raw. But beans cannot be eaten raw. So Rabbi Yochanan ki hachlishna sirli, he holds like a different opinion. Rav Shmuel bar Rabbi Yitzchak Rav kol she'eno oil shulchan shemalachim l'lafas was a pas ein bo mishum b'shul yav dekachavim. So taima the ein b'nei Torah hab'nei Torah shari. So basically, it's for a different reason. Bishul hakim is something which is royal shulchan malachim. So to put a bunch of beans on the table, that's not something in which is chashiv. And therefore, because of that, it's not considered to be an issue of bishul hakim. Okay. All right. So, Bo Minim Rav Kahana, he asked the following question. Is an Oivik Chavim allowed to bring grapes and put them into the gas? As we said, there's the gas on the top, and then it's pressed, and then afterwards the juice flows into the bore, into the holding pit. And there's a four-way machlokas, which we saw a couple days ago, when exactly that's called yain. So can he bring grapes? We don't allow it. So Esvei Rav Yemo Rav Kahana Oiv Kachavim Shehevi Anavu Magas B'Tzalin. Let's say you have an Oiv Kachavim that brings grapes in his basket. As we continue New Testament base. Uve dudurin. Rashi says in gigois katanos. These are like small casks. Afal pi shahayayin mizale falen. Even though the wine is going to spill from them, mutter. So we see clearly that they're allowed to bring the grapes into this area. Armalei havi ka'amrit. You're talking about a case where it was already brought, which is a b'diavad situation. No l'chatchila kamina. So it's a difference between b'diavad and l'chatchila. Question 9. Elu dvarim asu chachamim lasos alidei akum b'yayin shlomin hadin el matam schar amrinan unazira. So one is mezigas mayim b'yayin, pouring water onto wine, and also bringing the grapes into the gas. TA 11. Ha'im mutter sha'akim yoylech anavim lagas. So are they allowed to do that? So l'chatchila not, but because of lech, but b'diavad it's mutter, right? Question TB13. Akim shenasach yain shel Yisrael himutter likach mimenu dmei yain. Okay, we're not up to that yet. Okay. So ahu esroiga. Okay, the sukkah's coming. So there was this esrog, the naful chavisa dechamra, that fell into a barrel of wine, and idri avikachavim, just actually kafatz, the akam jumped quickly, vishakle, and he grabbed it, right, and his hand was like somewhat in the wine. So he said, naktua liyade. The first thing you should do is grab his hand while it's still inside, so that he doesn't swish it around, because if he swishes it around, it becomes problematic. And then over ritzua ad deshaifa, then you should tilt the barrel until basically the wine spills out. So he won't shake his hand. We grab it while it's in the wine, tilt the wine out to level where his hand is in, and then that will be a way of saving the wine. Because shikshuch makes it asubahana. Amr Avashi, Hai oivik achavim, the nasche lachamra d'Yisrael. So you have an akum that caused yain nesach on the wine of a yid, and he did it b'kavana. His intention was for it to be avodah Zarah. Afagav d'lezvuni lovik achavim achrina, even though the Jew wishes to sell it to another akum, aser, sharli lemishkel demei. He's still allowed to collect its value. In other words, he's not allowed. It's aser no. You're not allowed to sell this wine because it's was used for avodah zarah, but he's allowed to collect its value. In other words, he's collecting the loss of the wine for its worth before he touched it. He can't collect for him the value of this loss while it was in its permissive status. Okay. It says Rashi, you're not getting enough from yain nesach. Okay. So shari lemishkol demei. Now who avikachavim? So my taima, because mikol kalia, it's considered like this wine is like destroyed. It was burnt up, if you will. Okay. How do I know this is true? It's you're not allowed. It's also you can't. It's also even bahana. Yehud ben Baba, Rabbi Yehud ben Beser Matirin Mishum Shnei Devarim. Actually, it's allowed for two reasons. Echad shein men naschin yain el bifnei avos chachavim. It only becomes yain nesach if it's done in front of the idol. The echad she'omer, the Jew can say she'omer lo loy kol heminoch shetaser yeni la noisi, that you don't have the ability to aser my wine. Says Rashi, b'afagav delo svir lon kivosaihu lahatir limcho v'kachavim acher. Even though we don't hold based on this that you could sell to another akum, however, mahu avikachavim miyashari, from the akum who caused the damages, you're allowed lafrui niskai, to receive the damages of the loss, mishum tam deloy kol himinoch, based on this svara. So at least you can collect your losses from that guy. You can't sell it to an akum. Okay, let's look at question. We're going to stop there. Let's look at question 10. Chavius shenitol habarz v'niach akum yodo ala nekev lahatzil yena. Did we do this? Oh, that's on question 11. We'll see that tomorrow. Question let's see. Yeah, we'll see that in tomorrow's daf. Akum, question 10. Akum shenisach yenishol Yisrael im muter lefroya nisko min akum. So he said the answer is just mutter. You're allowed to. That's all they have over there. Okay, adkan.